Government sources have told India today that India is moving to confront Pakistan on the Headley revelations. India is mulling on sending a fresh dossier to Pakistan to nail the 2611 mastermind. Now, government sources say the evidence that is being given by Headley is admissible in Indian court, and Pakistan can no longer say that India is short on evidence anymore, as this evidence is not only more important than the evidence taken under Section 164 of the CRPC, but this is the terrorist approvers' evidence, which will corroborate the circumstantial evidence that India already has. Government sources say that it is time Pakistan stops being defiant and stop their sham investigation and be honest in booking the plotters of 2611.
It will lead us to very logical conclusion of the case, but I cannot speak about the details because I have not been briefed completely of what is happening there. Officially, if I am briefed, then I will let you know. It is already known that who is involved in the entire case and where are the backgrounds of Headley's all this working system and supports, backup and everything. So it will help us.
It is something where Pakistan always asked about proof. Well, today we have a deposition from Headley, and when we were in government, we had put all pressure to bring him back to India. That didn't happen, but at least today we move forward with his deposition, which has proved what the world already knew, that Hafiz Saeed, the Lashkar, as well as the ISI was involved. It is time now, whatever diplomatic channels available, whatever pressure the government can put, and this is something that justice will only be brought to the memory of the victims of 2611 if we have closure with all action being taken against these vicious people.
Well, whether it's going to make a difference to the 26/11 case, I'm not sure. But for the first time, at least, we've got permission from the Americans that the evidence given by David Headley can be used as part of. Earlier, it was only as like background information which we could use. And therefore, this recording of his testimony would be of evidentiary value in a court in India. But I think the more important thing is that you've got a former Pakistani citizen who is now an American citizen who is saying what we were always saying, and it's an independent third-party version which Pakistan knows about, but at least it's now formally on record.
इसका कोर्ट में बयान देना मायने रखता है, लेकिन कोई नई चीज वो नहीं बता पाएगा जो मैं समझता हूँ, क्योंकि सिर्फ डिटेल की बात है, वो डिटेल्स जरूर देगा। उसके आईएसआई के साथ ताल्लुकात थे और आईएसआई और लश्कर 2611 में इन्वॉल्व थे, ये सारी दुनिया जानती है, इसमें कोई नई चीज नहीं है। लेकिन डेविड हेडली जो है वो सिर्फ आईएसआई, मैं नहीं समझता कि वो सिर्फ आईएसआई का एजेंट था, वो कम से कम डबल एजेंट था, अगर ट्रिपल नहीं तो।
Will David Coleman Headley's testimony really nail Pakistan on the 2611 terror attack? As always, numbers tell the real story and they don't paint a pretty picture. Here's the reality, the truth in the numbers. 14 dossiers and follow-ups is what India has provided to Pakistan since the 2611 attack, and we all know how Pakistan has actually responded to those. Number of 2611 handlers in prison so far, you see that number on your screen, 0. That's the total number of people who've actually been arrested for 2611. The number of times India has officially, through the government, through the Foreign Office, indicated formally Pakistan's inaction on 2611, that's the number, that's the big number, 27. It takes a lot for a country to openly state another country's inaction. India has done that 27 times. The number of days after the 2611 terror attack that the formal trial actually began, take a look at that enormous number on your screen. 1256 days, years after the attack is when the trial actually began. But the number of journalists who've been given access to the actual trial proceedings, both in Pakistan and elsewhere, 0. Not a single journalist in Pakistan has access to a single scrap of paper of those trial proceedings. That paints a very real picture. 3 is the number of times Hafiz Saeed, the person who's been named by David Coleman Headley as having been the inspiration behind the attack. 3 is the number of times Hafiz Saeed has been put into protective custody since the 2611 attack. But how many times has Hafiz Saeed actually been arrested? 0. He hasn't even been house arrested even once since the 2611 attack. How many rallies has Hafiz Saeed held since the 26/11 attack? Recorded rallies where he has openly and explicitly threatened attacks against India. That's the number that we could gauge. The number of videos that we here at India Today have actually seen ourselves online. 27 rallies since 26/11 where Hafiz Mohammed Saeed has openly and explicitly actually threatened India. These numbers paint you a very different picture when you think about whether David Coleman Headley's testimony will end up nailing Pakistan.
Those numbers are a clear indication of the sham investigation that is being done by Pakistan. Now, one of the big terror names involved in the 26/11 attacks has nailed the role of the Pakistan Army, the ISI and the Lashkar-e-Taiba in the worst terror attack on Indian soil till date. The near 4-hour testimony this morning via video link from a prison in the US had David Coleman Headley singing. The man who scouted Mumbai and Delhi for terror targets clearly named the ISI, the Pakistan Army and the Lashkar-e-Taiba as the three agencies which inspired and ordered him to wage war against India. Headley named multiple ISI agents, including the already known Major Iqbal and Major Ali, who had been in touch with him and turned him into an anti-India terrorist. According to Headley, he was recruited after he was held smuggling drugs and arms in Fatah border area of Pakistan. Major Ali interrogated and introduced him to Major Iqbal. Headley told them that he was going to India. Major Ali believed he could be of great assistance in gathering intelligence about India. The deposition comes after Headley turned approver in the case last December and agreed to spill the beans on Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Pakistani spy agency, the ISI.
My brief is that to know about the larger aspects of the criminal conspiracy behind the terror attack of 26 November, and Abu Jindal is facing the trial, and I would like to know as to what had actually happened, who had prompted, how this criminal conspiracy had, and how ultimately it was progressed. So I think we are on the proper track to know the larger magnitude of the criminal conspiracy behind the terror attack of 26 November. This has a different dimension.
Okay.
It is not the only dimension of Abu Jindal, but this is a larger dimension of the criminal conspiracy behind the terror attack of 26 November.
Okay. But then do you think he will recognize the audio recording of Abu Jindal and others as well?
That I have not taken yet that decision in playing that cassette.
उन्होंने सिर्फ इतना ही कहा है कि मैं हाफिज सईद के कहने पे मैं एलईटी का काम किया हूँ, और उन्होंने ये भी बताया कि इस घटना के पहले 26/11 के पहले 2 और कोशिश हुए थे जो असफल रहे, और यही 10 लोग जो 26/11 को आए थे वो 2 बार पहले भी आ चुके थे, लेकिन उस समय उनका जो प्रयत्न था वो असफल रहा.
Joining me now in the studio is retired Brigadier V. Mahalingam. He's a defense expert as well as senior editor Gaurav Sawant. Gaurav had covered the trial of Tahawwur Rana in Chicago, where again David Coleman Headley was an approver there and a witness. Let me first put the question to Brigadier Mahalingam. Sir, you just heard Mahesh Jethmalani there. He is the counsel for David Coleman Headley, clearly stating that this man has very clearly said that it was on Hafiz Saeed's instigation that he decided to help attack India. What more evidence do we need than this for Pakistan to act?
See, there are enough evidences. If you are talking about evidences, the Indian government has given the dossiers after dossier, and the Federal Investigation Agency of Pakistan itself, as brought out by Tariq Kosha in his article, has got tremendous amount of evidences, starting from the place where they were trained, which was sealed by the Federal Investigation Agency, the place from where they launched, the boat, the fishing trawl which was brought back and painted. Every detail has been covered, and including the fired cases of those which were used in Bombay were brought back and tested properly.
Brigadier Mahalingam, if India has already submitted these dossiers, which Pakistan has very audaciously and cheekily termed as literature, then what is the sense in giving Pakistan another dossier? Shouldn't we be using this deposition now to put pressure on Pakistan internationally rather than trying to deal with them bilaterally?
Absolutely, you are very correct. The putting pressure on Pakistan is not going to work, and these evidences must be collected and put across to term Pakistan as a terror state, which it is. Now, having said that, as far as Pakistan is concerned, we must understand the political heads in Pakistan are under pressure. But the army and the ISI are under no pressure. As far as money is concerned, the US or anyone denying them the funds, they will get it from their national budget. As far as diplomatic efforts are concerned, you are aware that the American national security advisor goes on to meet the ISI chief, meets the Pakistan's chief. Therefore, they are at least they have got no pressure at all. And if at all there is any pressure is to be brought on the Pakistan army, it has got to be by India by offensive action, which will mean cost to the army.
Gaurav, you know, Shiv just brought out some details, statistics and numbers on how no arrests have been made in this case by Pakistan yet, and the investigation itself started about 4 years after the attack in India. Now, you know, initially G.K. Pillai, who was the former Home Secretary, has said that initially the investigation done by Pakistan was going in the right direction but was derailed. Is it because Pakistan realized that there was not an overt, or not a covert rather, but a very overt role that was played by the army there?
Look, from day one, Pakistan was very clear about the role of the army. This is extremely crucial, David Coleman Headley's testimony, because it directly nails Hafiz Mohammad Saeed, with that Hafiz Mohammad Saeed was recruiting him, indoctrinating him and telling him about jihad in India. So it nails Hafiz Saeed under section 164 of CRPC, which is admissible evidence. Pakistan so far was claiming this is literature. It directly nails the role of two Pakistan ISI officers, Major Iqbal and Major Samir Ali. All of this was also known when that Chicago trial took place in the federal court. But now this is admissible as evidence in an Indian court. Now it's for government of India to mount a strong case against Hafiz Mohammad Saeed and Pakistan ISI and army. Well, will Pakistan act? It depends on the kind of evidence India produces and the kind of pressure India mounts. Now, in the past, India mounted pressure initially, but then under American pressure, India withdrew its strong stance, started playing cricket with them, started all sorts of association without Pakistan delivering on 26/11. Once again, with the BJP government, they need to mount pressure on Pakistan post Pathankot terror attack, not just on Pathankot, but also on 26/11.
Gaurav, you know, I'll just read out some glaring facts that good David Coleman Headley has said, and this is from the guilty plea and testimony that David Coleman Headley had gone through. He said that he attended training camps that were operated by Lashkar, a 3-week course starting in February 2002 that provided indoctrination, as you were pointing out, a 3-week course in August 2002 providing training in the use of weapons and grenade, a 3-month course starting in April 2003 which taught him close combat tactics, 3-week course starting in August 2003 that taught him counter surveillance skills, and a 3-month course in December 2003 that provided combat and tactical training. Gaurav, is any more evidence required that this entire conspiracy was hatched on Pakistani soil, executed from there? Why is then that Hafiz Mohammad Saeed makes 27 more speeches, inflammatory speeches against India, and Pakistan is able to do nothing?
That is because David Coleman Headley has very clearly pointed out that Hafiz Mohammad Saeed is a strategic asset. Hafiz Mohammad Saeed operates in tandem with the Pakistan army. Now, in that Chicago courthouse also, there was direct evidence of Pakistan Navy providing training to these 10 terrorists who came to India in navigating and reaching India. So there is direct complicity of the Pakistani state. It is for India to continue to mount pressure on Pakistan. India cannot afford to blow hot one day and blow cold the other day, because Pakistan very clearly realizes that India has this: either we won't talk to you at all, or we'll have that open puppy jappi system with Pakistan. And that Pakistan has mastered the art, whether it's the 1993 terror attacks, the 2006 terror attacks, the 2008, or current Pathankot terror attacks. Pakistan is so used to India blowing hot, blowing cold that it takes absolutely no action against Hafiz
Brigadier
Saeed.
Mahalingam, you were talking about offensive action. Now, at the moment, of course, something of that nature is ruled out. But then in that case, what should be India's next move?
See, as far as India's next move is concerned, we have to be quite clear in our mind that you have to bring in pressure on the Pakistan's military. That is the only thing which will work. There are any number of options India has which can be utilized. You can't be listening to what US says, what somebody else says. That is not the issue at all. Now, you brought out a point regarding evidences. Now, if you are going for evidences, for example, Zaki-ur-Rahman was arrested from a terror camp in Muzaffarabad.
Yes.
That itself proves that he is a terrorist and he has been captured from there, and that particular terror camp has been sealed by the FIA. Second thing, as Gaurav very rightly brought out, the point that we have to remember that terrorism is a state policy. They sponsor terrorists, they are funding them, they are nourishing them. So therefore, to expect Pakistan to arrest these people or take action against these people is absolute ignorance on our part.
Okay. Brigadier Mahalingam and Gaurav Sawant, many thanks for joining us on this broadcast. So clearly, there will be more evidence that will be thrown up tomorrow in the morning as David Coleman Headley is deposing again tomorrow morning in that special court in Mumbai via video conferencing. We're taking very